My wife's grandma is 85 years old. She was born in 1935, where Social Security was set to 65, when the average American lived to be a little bit over 61, and a gallon of gas was 16 cents, and Sir Robert Watson Watt invented the modern radar. So she's lived through the creation of the first computer, first organ transplant, and the Cuban Missile Crisis of the 60s. She's seen a lot during her life and done much more. One time over dinner, I talked to her and other family members about the President Nixon impeachment trial. And I asked her, I said, "Grandma, what were you thinking when all that was going down?" She said, "I thought I had 3 babies to raise and not enough time to worry about anything else." The answer stuck out to me. Grandma wasn't worried about what was happening in DC as much as she was worried about what was right in front of her, which was the health and well-being of those that counted on her the most. It's much more useful to implement change in your actions towards your family in your community than it is to huff and puff about how those people just don't get it. The fact is, all of us don't get a lot about everything. For perspective, author Bill Bryson writes in his book, A Short History of Nearly Everything, that, quote, "Nobody knows how many stars there are in the Milky Way. Estimates range from 100 billion or so to perhaps 400 billion, and the Milky Way is just one of 140 billion or so other galaxies, many of them even larger than ours." End quote. The numbers are incomprehensible. There's way more unknown than known, and it's a miracle to grasp that concept at all. With the perspective of how small we are, fixing society before fixing the litter scattered all over the on-ramp to your nearest highway becomes more of an excuse than a mission. We should strive for the most impact on our direct environment instead. The local approach is the most useful of our finite resources, and to take care of the things and the people right in front of us. We can have an immediate impact on our local environment, and the return on investment is quicker and more profound than tackling issues that exist abroad. Don't mistake focusing on what you can do now for a plea of ignorance. And as leaders, we need to be well-informed citizens. But instead, I'm calling for the prioritization of information and execution with the least path of resistance possible. I don't want to sound naive, but what type of change would we see if everyone adopted the philosophy of taking care of what's right in front of them? We must understand what's the chaff and what's the wheat. We must understand what's useful information and what's a distraction. We must realize that it's up to us to start acting the way we tell others how our politicians should act. We can't change other people. We can only act in the best way we know how to. And we can't get it right always, because life requires that you fall off the bike a few times before you can ride smoothly down the street. But are you willing to scrape your knee to get better? Are you ready to create a lousy plan so that way you can better understand what needs adjusting? Are you willing to turn off the TV and put away the phone so that way you can be there for those who are right in front of you and need you the most? We can't always get it right. The world is too big. But where you're at now and who you're with is the perfect place to start acting the way you think others should. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great week. And until next time, stay healthy, stay happy.